All right, we're recording now.
Hey, this is Michael Harden, Chairman of the Parking Authority, on a Zoom monthly meeting. Here to kick it off. Today is the 18th of November, 6 o'clock. Do we have, just pulling up, my agenda is right here. Is there any public comment or emails in, anything from the public? Jess, did you get anything in your office?
No, so we did not receive any emails, and I see 9 of us are participating, so no one from the public is on.
Right. Okay. So then there's no public comments for this evening. That calls us to order. The next thing in line is the approving of the minutes from the last Parking Authority meeting, September 23rd, 2020. Does anybody have any corrections or comments on?
I have one correction.
Yeah.
Eric is listed as being there and being absent. I'm pretty sure he was not present.
Or at least one or the other.
Yeah, one or the other, but it talks about 3-0 votes during the minute, so I assume he was not there.
Correct. Anything else, Judd? Do you have anything for the minutes?
No, there was one spelling typo, but it was minor. I didn't mark it, so.
All right. So then with the one correction for Eric being absent, all those in favor will pass the minutes.
Aye.
Opposed? Wow, it's unanimous. It's unanimous. Excellent. All right. The next point on that over here. Hold on a second. There we go. This is good. All right, new business. Discuss an action minutes for the Parking Authority. We did. Old business, the chairman report. That's me. The one thing I have to talk about in the chairman report is a request from the Maritime Aquarium. I have a request from David from the Maritime Aquarium for help, for financial help with the invoices that he has for parking, essentially through COVID. Staff, did you come up with an accounting of that?
You know what? I don't have it in front of me.
Okay.
Rocky,
Okay.
While Mike's talking, are you able to pull that up?
I'm just looking.
You're on mute, Rock.
Yes, I have that. I'm going to pull that up.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah. Tell him when you need it.
So he wrote us a letter that basically said that, of course, the pandemic has created some real hardships for them. And as a nonprofit organization, the aquarium, relies pretty heavily on both admission revenues and donations, and everything has suffered. They're at 50% less attendance with all the annual fundraising events and things canceled due to COVID. And so they're seeking relief. He's asking if the parking fees for staff and volunteers can be waived from July 20th to December. Well, it says here December 21. But Rocky, what are they in arrears with us to date? Do you have that?
Yes, I have that. So far, they have an outstanding balance of $4,864, and of which $33,664 is for their key card holders, and $1,200 is for the chaser ticket that they buy every month.
And the chaser ticket is what they give their volunteers to come and go, right? It's like a bucket ticket or something like that. It's right.
Yes.
And so that their volunteers can come and park free while they're volunteering and thing. And then the 3664 is their monthly. That's their employed staff, I guess.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
So I wanted to open up a quick discussion on that and talk about how we feel, about our partnership with the Maritime Aquarium. And what we can do to help them. I realize it's the first time you've heard this, but what do you guys think? I mean, it's not a lot of money for us, even though we are, going through our own struggles. And I think they are a very vital part of us and our business, especially at the Maritime. They're a huge part of, or their customers are a huge part of our revenue in that garage. I think anything we can do to help them and keep them moving is probably the right thing. I don't know. Tom, what do you think?
I tend to agree with you. I would just be a little careful about it. I mean, they're going to come back next year and say, oh, they just started the construction and we ought to get relief because of that. I can't imagine how, but I mean, the pandemic thing is a once a century situation. I can understand that. And I guess if I had to pick right now, I would say, yeah, let's go ahead and work with them. But we just got to be careful going down the road about what else may happen.
Yeah, with them and others, I guess, right?
Sure.
What
Judd?
other nonprofits do we have agreements with? Do we know
I don't know that there's any in the Maritime Center.
at that garage?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's okay to do it now. And if they come back in a year, as Tom said, we just have to look at our own numbers because
Right.
we have our own financial problems.
Yeah. Yeah. Very true.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, so if we went back to them and said that we would, forgive the 4864 and, moving forward, we would just take it, on a quarterly basis, on a monthly basis, I don't know if I want to
I don't know
do
that I
this
would.
on a monthly, but
I don't know that I would even encourage him like that. I would say we've agreed, if we do, till, in fact, I would assume they meant December 31st till the end of the year, but we're willing to do that if that's the feeling of the group, but not suggest, I mean, if you say we're going to review it quarterly, they're going to come parading back in
Right.
the end of March.
right.
I would just say,
Right.
okay, yeah, we're willing to do this and leave it at that.
For the one time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it's not up for a vote, and it's not a decision we need to make today. It's a part of a discussion. I'll probably come up with a motion for next month's meeting on these ideas and see if we can help them after that. All right.
Sounds good.
All right. Thanks, guys. Financial operating report.
Yep, so Stathy's going to take the financial report and the operating report today.
Back. Okay. let me share the screen here.
Oh, great. I still got my printout, even though Judd's not printing it out and spiral binding it for me.
We had to make
Oh, yeah?
cutbacks because of the virus.
Cutbacks, right? Gotcha. Okay.
Can everybody see that?
Yep.
I know it's kind of small and you may have it, but so I'll just pull up that report. I mean, basically, we're still, as we all know, in this pandemic, and that's impacted all our revenues. We're off about 50% to budget for the month, and a little less than that year to date. And you can see, you know, it's hitting everything, you know, on every line item. So it hasn't discriminated. On the expense side, we have deferred and reduced expenses and deferred some to reduce overall expenses. And I'm not going through all the line items unless there's a question, but basically we've been favorable to budget just because of the reductions, about 24% for the month, and about over 29% year to date. As you can see, we are still in the red for the month and year to date, but we are showing improvements compared to the projections that we had for the COVID reopening plan that we had discussed so many times before, as we were running through the pandemic from March on. I don't have that up, but if we do want to see that, maybe Rocky can pull it up, or I can find it during the meeting. So I think as long as you keep that in the back of your mind, that we're still pulling out of this, and we're still in the red on a monthly basis to help guide you through some decisions. The interesting thing is, if you look at the trend, by location, the ones that are really being impacted the worst are the ones that have all the debt service on them. Like the South Norwalk Railroad Station Garage, Maritime Garage, Yankee Doodle. So all those are particularly impacted because of the debt service on the properties. So that's where we are from a financial standpoint. I can, if there's a question, we can answer that. Otherwise, I'll move on to the ops report, which will cover some of this as well.
Yeah, you can move on. Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on. So let me get to my control. Share, let's get to. So everybody has that up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just bear with me here, because there's one other file I wanted to have up while I was going through this. Okay. So back to the revenues, compared to budget for the month, we're off 50%. Year to date, we're off 44% to budget, and compared to last year, we're off about 47%.
Can you make that either large or?
Enlarge this?
No, it seems like you're in sort of a preview screen. We're not really looking at the actual.
Oh,
PDF,
oh,
yeah.
I see.
There it is.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to, unfortunately, my other screen isn't working because I had some other notes that I wanted to make sure that I
That's
hit,
better.
but now I guess I'm not able to do that. So the story on, on revenue and expenses is there. We're still impacted a lot over at the rail station facilities with commuter service not running very frequently, and nobody's going into the city anymore, and that's way down. And we hope to start seeing that come back. Transient activity compared to last year is down 43%, as you can see by the.
Yep.
Is that a little better?
Yep.
And by locations, you can see the activity by facility. And that translates into revenue being down as well. 78% of our revenue is collected in credit cards, which is a good sign. I mean, permit sales have been stable for the most part, although they've been down for sure, but they're always a stable component of our revenue stream. Just not as much seasonal fluctuations like we see at say the Maritime Garage, where we have a lot more activity outside of school season.
That worries me a lot, though, that permit activity. What on the left side there, 2,600, is that transactions or
that's
dollars?
2,600 permits.
Permits.
Yeah, so in October we were down to I guess it's about 2,450, something like that.
So why, if we still have a waiting
2440.
list, why are we down there?
Well, we haven't really just purged it, though. I mean, Rocky might just jump in, Rock, too. We haven't really purged it, but we're assuming that people, will come back again. You're on mute,
so we
Rock.
we are place holding everybody's permits still, and yet that many permit holders have not come back yet. Is that what you're saying?
I can jump on that, Captain Mike. Yes, the permit holders, we've been trying to contact them and enroll them into the permit system, but some of them are not ready, just like those that are laid off. So they're not coming back, and so they asked us to still put them on the waiting list. And the ones, the waiting list, except on Haviland, all the other waiting lists on East Norwalk and South Norwalk, most people are just wanted to be still on the waiting list.
So that
they
I
don't
think
want to
is,
lose their spot, right?
yeah, but I think come down again, Stott. I don't think that's unfortunately, I think that's a bad sign for us, and I think we need to really look at this permit activity chart, especially as we talk about the budget moving in to the season, because we may want to pick a new ceiling, or we may want to drill down into this a little bit.
So when you drill down into, or when you think about permit activity, it's really a function of employment.
Right.
These are commuters that are going to work, that are regulars, they're employees of businesses, of restaurants, commercial and retail. So that's kind of the core stabilized revenue source of our business. But yeah, it's I mean, at this point, it's really beyond our control. We can't really, I don't know what you can do to improve that situation. That's not going to bring, that I'm not sure that we can do anything to bring people back. It's not our, it's other people's businesses, and when they are ready. But this is usually, an indicator of employment.
Correct.
Right,
the-
but if, go ahead.
The ones that are actually canceling are not completely canceling. Not they're just saying that their office is not open in New York, so they still want to be. So, yeah, we're expecting this in New York, those cities in Norwalk. Those people are going to be. They're not terminated from the employment, so we expect them to be back as
So I'm sorry, Rocky, you were breaking up a little bit, and stop me if you said this, but so of those 2,450 permits, how many of them are commuters? All of them?
Um,
not all.
Well, no, so we can go by location. So if you go to, Maritime Garage, we've got 485.
Gotcha. It is system wide though.
That's a system-wide, this is a system-wide report here, or
Yeah.
graph.
Because I think, especially if this is going to be this way through the winter, I know a lot of businesses in Manhattan are talking not bringing people back till May or June. And, obviously right now we've got some pretty high COVID numbers going on that we have to get over as well. I think we need to be kind of laser focused on this, watch this, because
Yeah.
this is gonna, this is gonna dictate what we can do with a budget next year.
Right.
So this is the budget line item that we pointed out yesterday, where it increased from fiscal year, the current fiscal year to next fiscal year by 1.36%, right? And we were saying that we were talking about it yesterday, that it basically, we kept it flat except for the inflation. So I think that's what I was trying to flag yesterday when we were talking about it, that if there's a number that may fall, that this may be the number that we want to look at a little bit more closely. And saying that, it's also the budget for the next fiscal year, which starts in 7 months time, basically. So we can't necessarily predict what's going to happen beginning July 1st, 2021 to June 2022. But at the same time, I think that this will probably be the number that's impacted the most, that I think that you guys that has basically not carried the budget. I think that's a bit of an exaggeration, but been a significant part of the operating budget in the past.
Right.
Yeah, so, monthly parking revenue accounts for almost 50%, 45% of revenues. Almost 50%, yeah. So it is a significant piece, and it's something that definitely have to keep an eye on, like you said.
Okay. I'm sorry, Star. Continue.
Okay.
We'll watch that.
All right, let me get back to my screen. What did I do to myself here?
It's still up for us. Go to the
Yeah, I know.
Zoom
I
tab.
clicked on another. I clicked on another file. All right, hold on. Okay, sorry. So as we go to each location, like we were saying, so the monthly permits at, say, Maritime are 485 now. Webster's at 457. Haviland's at 405. But I wanted to get to, excuse me for making you dizzy, but the railroad station garages have been impacted significantly. So usually we would have about 750 permit holders that we would, allow to park in that garage. So we kept some space open for commuters and day parkers, but we're down to 500, and 11. So that's, you can see there's a significant drop going on there.
And not even all of those are actually being used. A small portion of those permits are actually being used right now, right? I mean, the traffic in the actual South Norwalk facility
Yeah.
is
That's correct. I think
Very
Rocky was
light.
going to say something too, right?
Go ahead, Rock.
Yeah, that is correct. Most of them are not using it on a daily basis, but the ones that are keeping the permanent using the are using it maybe once or twice a month. So they don't use their permit. But you're right, it's the usage has been reduced.
Yeah, I think there might be something wrong with your mic, Rock. I don't know if I'm the only one that can't hear you, but
Yeah, it's going in and out a little bit.
So East Norwalk, same thing. Yankee Doodle, we're down to 275 parkers.
There's an uptrend though.
We are seeing, yep. We are still seeing, even though it's down, it still is following some of the seasonal trends somewhat. So we're seeing that in some of the locations as we've kind of, stabilized where we are. That's obviously going to change if there's increased restrictions and lockdowns. And this spike, if you remember, was from from permit collections from McMahon Ford. So that's
Got you.
Wall Street looks good just because coming off of all the construction and the shutdown there.
Pay by sell.
Main Street, a little bit of the same. I think as we were going through all this too, one of the consistencies we are seeing is that some of the lengths of the average durations and lengths of stay have not really changed too much. I don't know if that what that necessarily means, but I think people's patterns are still the same, the ones that are coming out.
Library is still closed. Library's not closed. They're just doing appointments only.
So, yeah, there's just
So
nothing.
there's no parking in there. Yeah.
Right. Liberty Square. And of course, this green line is, or the drops are when COVID hit and all the shutdowns hit.
Stati, let me ask you a question. Would it save us any money if we closed the library lot? Or is it, I mean, it's fairly automatic, but I mean, if we just shut it down, would it save us anything?
Yeah, well, I mean, we could look into that. I wouldn't say significantly.
Okay.
I'm just looking at another file here. I mean, we're not generating any revenue there. It's costing about a couple grand a month to operate that lot.
And what is the cost of that? Is that the machinery? There's gates, right? Or no?
It's
not
just
gated.
Yeah, it's just some of the staffing allocations. We'd have to drill down into it. Some of this may be some payroll allocations of salaried employees that are just spread over the locations. There isn't that much, I'd say, hard cost directly on the site that if you shut it, like electricity or anything like that. So, but we can look into that if that's something you want us to do.
But even if we rope it off or something like that, we would still be responsible for it. So we'd still have to patrol it in some way, right? I mean, we couldn't just...
Yeah, I don't think that's going to really move the needle.
Got you. Okay.
Mike, it's Vanessa. May I give you a
Hi,
suggestion?
Vanessa.
If you want to maybe consider not using one lot, we have to read the agreement, but maybe what we can do is return the East Avenue temporary lot back to DOT before the winter. There's really not many people parking in there. We sold some permits that probably can be allocated to a different lot, and then we don't need to plow that lot.
Yeah, that would be nice. I hear that they may take it back anyway, right?
Exactly. So what about if we tell them here, and you guys have the agreement, you have to read and see what are the terms, but if it is from both parties that can cancel, maybe we can send them a notice and say that as of January 1st, you're not gonna be maintaining it anymore. At least you're gonna have some savings there on the snow plowing.
And we'd also, and of course, we'd have to look at what permits we do have there and where we could put them. We'd have to make sure we could.
Well, you have about 24 permits that was issued to that lot. And then if there is, but there are no cars there, so I think that it's easy to contact each one and then see if they would be interested in go to one of the other lots if you have some
Mhm.
space, or just cancel that permit as well.
Yeah,
Because
I've
that
noticed.
permit, when we did that, I remember that we were gonna do on a temporary basis, meaning it wasn't gonna be for a year long,
Right.
because we didn't know the date when we we're gonna take it. So I think that that can at least save some money in regards to maintenance.
Jess, do you have access to that leasing agreement?
Yep, I can find that and circulate it. We can talk about it internally and then we can bring it forward. But it's a great idea.
Okay. Yeah, great idea. Thank you, Vanessa.
Yeah. Okay, so we can help look at that as well.
Okay.
Let's see, let's go down to enforcement. As you know, we've extended the customer courtesy program, and the program we've gotten to the point where the numbers we had last year for 12 months, we've already hit this fiscal year.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll get to those numbers. Actually, they're
Okay.
right. Let's see. Oh, no, that's not the year-to-date ones. Hold on, I'll tell you what those are. So we have on the enforcement side with the customer courtesy program. So we have had 30 for the month of October. We've had 30 days, the program days. We've given out 3,100, over 3,100 courtesy tickets. We've provided about almost $1,600 in meter money for the program,
Mm-hmm.
and given about that much in additional meter time. And the value of those courtesy tickets was about $79,000 if they were, real tickets. So year to date, about 115 days in the program, 8,100 courtesy tickets. We've given out 4,000 in additional meter time. And the value of those courtesy tickets is $186,000. So that's just in this fiscal year. So in 4 months, last year. So we're over what we did last year, or right on the money, or 101% of what we did last fiscal year. So in 2020, we did 8,067 courtesy tickets. We've already done 8,134 now. And last fiscal year, the value of those tickets was 184,650. And this year, at the end of October, we're already at 186,000. So that's something to note for sure.
Absolutely. Thank you.
And Judd will be happy to know that I've kind of added the Judd report into the ops report now.
Nice.
Until you decide you don't want it, or it may stay forever. This is the ratio of tickets issued to demands. And the orange line is 21. So it dropped significantly, this ratio in October. So from a numbers perspective, tickets issued went down to 475. We had 59,000 demands, and the ratio is about 0.8. So which is, and I didn't show all the years going back to 2014 or 12 or. But this, I think, is the lowest ratio we've had.
Yeah, absolutely. I believe that.
That when you say tickets issued, you're not including courtesy cards. You're only talking about actual tickets, right?
We're talking about, right, exactly.
Yeah, it's low, very low.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, Todd.
Yep. And unless anybody else has any questions, that's really all I have to report. I will just tell you the pay by cell, like we said last time, unfortunately that's taken a hit too. It's still, pretty good, but, the lines are continually growing every year. But, as soon as I think this vaccine gets out there and we get back to business as usual, I think we'll see that bounce back. So that's all I have to report. No hearings. And equipment's operating well.
All right, so thank you very much. Vanessa, would you like to bring us up to speed quickly on the capital budget report?
Sure. I really don't have really much to
Yeah.
say, but the good news is that we fixed the outside lighting at Yankee Doodle. So we were able to replace the parts that were working well. We worked back with the manufacturer, the programmer. We have few things that needs to be reprogrammed, and now it's back. So if you guys drive by, it's all working perfectly. Knock on
On
wood.
for Christmas,
Say like
Thanksgiving.
that. I think that we're still on the November is still. We may have switched to the holidays now. It's to the green and red. I have to. No, probably is the white and blue for now. I'm assuming.
Okay.
So I don't remember that's really the big thing that happened this past 2 weeks. What was good. We still are working on finalize the caulking design to see if we can get it out to bid this winter. And then I have nothing to report on the Webster lot design yet. I haven't heard anything from them. They were actually, no, it's not true. I'm sorry. They were doing some borings at Webster lot yesterday. So they're doing some drilling there yesterday. So we're moving forward with the design, and we should have it all done. So that's pretty much it. I don't have much.
Thank you, Vanessa. So we are on now to other business. I do want to talk briefly about hearings. Jess, we were talking earlier about a possible solution for hearings at the last meeting. A couple solutions, actually. One of which was sending everybody that has asked for a hearing a letter that said something to the effect of, if you pay the original amount of your ticket now, we'll just wash it, and we won't have to worry about the hearings, and try to get rid of some of the bulk of the hearings that are stacked up. And then I think from you, Jess, you were talking about something about the fact that the legal was trying to put together some sort of possible virtual hearing or some way of redoing the hearings in a safe way. Did you get anywhere on that?
So I think Staffy and Rocky have been talking to legal, and I've been talking to legal as well. So I think that we can hold the hearings virtually. We just need to figure out what steps we want to take to try to clear up some of those appeals and clear up some of those violations. And if we're able to do what you said, Mike, then what is the remainder list? And what does that look like? And how can we schedule virtually what those meetings look like moving forward, or what those hearings look like? But Staffy, do you have anything else to add to that?
Yeah, no, I think you hit it on the head. I think the thought was it was twofold. First, to see if we could reduce the number of potential hearings by offering some kind of a settlement when we call them or notify them. And if we're able to do that, then that takes it off the books. Otherwise, if we're unable to do that, and this may be with a combination of notices and maybe calls, it would be, well, then, here's if you still want to go to the hearing, then this would be your time and day. And that's what we're trying to figure out, like how many we could do in an hour, or do we just send a bulk out, that call in, with Zoom between 1 and 2 o'clock, and maybe there's 12 people, knowing that some don't show up and people are used to waiting a little bit anyways. So that's what we're trying to work out, just kind of the logistics of it.
Okay, let's put that on the agenda for next month and see if get some more answers there. I know it's not a lot, but we don't want to let it go too long either. I'm sure, I don't want to get in trouble by holding them off too long. All right.
Yeah, we can do that for sure.
And the last thing I wanted to talk out real quickly, actually, it's a request for Rocky and Stott. Can you guys give us a little more deeper look at what a touchless pay service would look like, both in machinery and costs and process? I think we should start looking at that now, just to see what that would look like.
Okay, we can do that.
For next month. Again, we'll make it an agenda item and talk about maybe, if it is all new machinery, or if it is an online system, or whatever it looks like. But I think it should be somewhat of a topic, at least over the winter here, so that we have some answers if we do end up needing, or we should probably go that way anyway, but part of our discussions. All right.
Right. Okay, perfect.
Does anybody have anything else? Tom?
I move we adjourn.
Is there a second?
Yes, sir.
Judd has seconded that. We'll call the meeting here, 6:45. Thank you very much.
Thanks, everybody.
Have a good
Bye,
night.
everybody.
Thank you. Good night.
All right. Good night, everybody.